It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast right around Australia, 7 days a week. Yes, talking about your property news and information. And we are doing it from Brisbane, Adelaide, Canberra, Gold Coast, Melbourne, you name it, we are everywhere, and you can stream us on multiple platforms, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon. As I say, it is a Wednesday in July the 30th today. I'm sort of only on half speed because this morning I didn't have a great coffee. You know, these coffee machines at home, sometimes it's like a 50-50, whether it's a great coffee or just an average coffee. Mine was average. In fact, it's been kind of average for a little while now. I bought another Breville coffee machine. Now, I did a dumb thing, and I advise you not to do this. I upgraded to a new machine, the same model, after 2 years, and the old machine, there was nothing wrong with it. Worked perfectly. Great coffee every time. However, the new coffee machine has a pressure problem. And I can't tell you the amount of hassles that I have had with Breville, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You've got to send them videos of the pressure on the gauge. Then they're telling you that, no, the pressure's pretty good. And then they say, right, let's send it to a shop and get something fixed if it requires it. Of course, these repair shops, they're always going to find something to put in it. So they did that, comes back, and it is still the same. So it's a bit of an ongoing drama, but don't do what I did. Just stick with a machine if it is working well. Let's take you to Victoria right now. Catch up with Ashley McKee and Natalie Fagan from Belle Property. And good morning, girls. Welcome back into the Real Estate Breakfast. How was your coffee this morning?
Ash and I Ash has one a day. She limits herself, but I'm an absolute coffee addict. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's all to do with the pressure. Now, just to remind us where you are in Victoria.
So we're located in Daylesford in Victoria.
And Daylesford is the place for this year's season of the block. The contestants, I heard, are facing more than just renovation challenges. The once booming regional market is now cooling fast. This from Domain. They're saying that Daylesford's median house price falling 6.3% to $820,000. And Hepburn Shire down 11.3%, with key buyers pulling back and price drops accelerating since 2023. They say that for this year's contestants, they will need sharp selling strategies to stand out. What do you say?
Look, I don't disagree with that. I mean, the numbers don't lie. But in terms of the buyers that we've got coming around, I think the one thing that the block houses have in their favour is that we are seeing that houses which are fully complete, which are new, which meet the current building standards in terms of the energy ratings, they are more desirable than the ones that need fixing up, just because the cost of building has increased substantially in the last few years. So I think the block houses really have that in their favour last year, because it's not a relocated home, it's a brand new home. Part of their design guidelines is that all the houses there do need to be new. So the block, when they did their builds and their designs, had to adhere to that. I think that's one of the reasons why they had to do it that way this year. But it's so nice to see them doing something differently. So I think it's going to be a great experience.
What about you, Ashley? What do you think?
I think it's fantastic. You know, our region doesn't have a lot of newly built homes, and so this brings something new. And when you're talking about the medium house pricing that Domain has discussed this morning, yes, we do have different pricing across our region, but we also have a lot of different properties. So new builds is something that we've only just seen across our region in the last 2 years. And like Natalie was saying, in the Middleton Field project, you know, there's over 68 land lots there, which are all going to be brand new builds. And so we feel like it's going to really make a difference.
They do say that contestants on the block, they face added pressure in Daylesford's falling market, building identical homes from scratch. They say their challenge is to appeal broadly to investors, families and retirees by creating standout features that give their home the edge over the competition. As you know, I don't watch TV reality shows, so I can't really weigh in on what has happened before on the block. I'll talk to some people. We don't give this a lot of airing on the Real Estate podcast, but it's all true, isn't it? They've really got to work hard, I think, in this sort of market.
Look, if we went back a couple of years when the block did a regional location, which was a mixture of new and relocated homes, we saw the same articles coming out that the properties weren't going to sell, who were going to be the buyers, and, you know, they were listed well above the highest property sale in Gisborne at the time, and they sold. So we see that's going to happen the same here. Yes, they're going to have their challenges of, you know, having to be off-site at the end of the day. There's no late nights for them of painting, and, you know, they're going to be under a lot more pressure, but they're starting from the ground up with a new build. And anyone that has built a home or renovated a home, they would say that starting from the ground up is far easier than renovating something that's half built. So look, there's going to be challenges, but again, it goes back to, like I said before, there are very few newly built homes in our region, and these designs, the layouts, they will appeal to multiple buyers, even families. Like, it will be fantastic to see a family buy one of these houses because they have the backyard, they have all those fantastic features, and they're walking distance into town.
Just give us a little bit of a breakdown on Daylesford for people around the country that don't know too much about it. In fact, they might know nothing about it. So just do the profile in terms of how many people live there, maybe some of the demographics. We know what the median price is. I'm guessing that there's not too many units there.
No, there's not too many units. That's correct, Craig. So look, Daylesford, if you don't know anything about it, you know, we are known for our mineral waters, the trees. It feels a little bit like Europe. My family's been here for over 25 years. Our population in sort of like, you know, central to Daylesford hovers around that 2,600, 2,700. So we're not a large town. We are a very diverse community, which we love and embrace, and everybody embraces wholeheartedly. We have fantastic schools here. We've got a great high school, half an hour from Ballarat, half an hour from Kyneton, from Woodend, from Castlemaine, and you're only an hour and 20 minutes from Melbourne as well. So it's a really lovely central location. We don't have any huge fast food places as well. You will not find any of the big brands here, which we love. What you will get is artisan bakers and restaurants and wines and deli, and the food and wine collections that you can get in this region are truly outstanding. And that's what brings people back and back and back. And because everything, you know, is walking distance, if you're living in the centre of Daylesford, if you want something a little bit quieter, you can head to Hepburn or just outside into Musk. And it's absolutely beautiful.
The food, I mean, that has really sort of piqued my interest. Probably worth a drive through just for that. What do the locals think about this block coming to town? Is it like, oh, okay, it's happening down the road, they just go on about their business?
Look, it's really interesting. I mean, you know, Ash and I worked with the block for 2 years to get that land lot sold, and working with Hugo because they are our client. And we worked really hardly. And look, the Hugo and the block did work with council to ensure that the houses really represented the region to the absolute best of, you know, their ability. It is the gateway to Daylesford on that corner, right opposite the Farmers Arms, and coming from, you know, the external towns. You will get pluses and minuses. Everybody's going to either love or hate it, and that's okay. But in terms of what is happening on that corner and how it's going to be presented, I think having 5 premium homes on that corner representing Daylesford, I only believe it's going to lift the region because they are beautiful. They really are.
And right now it is time for another property tip. And recently we were talking to Lauren, a buyer's agent there in Brisbane. You got a great one for us, so tell us what it is.
Yeah, so if you're looking to purchase an investment property and the property will be vacant at the time of settlement, I suggest you put some additional clauses into the contract of sale. The first one allowing you to gain access to the agent's marketing photographs. The second clause to allow you to actually advertise the property up for rent. rent prior to settlement. And then the third one, if you're lucky, allowing access for the property manager to conduct rental inspections prior to settlement. All three of these clauses will hopefully mean that you can get a tenant in sooner into the property and minimise that vacancy period.
Grab your weekly dose of inspiration to help build a real estate portfolio. We talk to the best in the business every day. Learn from the professionals and know your property with us.
And what you said before about, post-sale after the auction, and you guys are in a really good position, I think, because a couple of years ago you were dealing in that post scenario. Not great for television on the night with the auction because everybody sort of points out how big a failure it was that they didn't reach this particular price. But then, given time, we know that days on market is a real thing. And of course, that applies to the block as well. It sells in a post environment.
Well, look, we were really proud that for the Gisborne block that our house was one of the two houses that did sell under the hammer. The other three were passed in. We didn't actually have to face that follow-up because we did sell on the day.
And just before I let you go, Daylesford, as we reported at the top, median house price falling 6.3%. The median house price $820. So why is that? Why has it been going backwards?
The only thing that I think is worth mentioning is that, there is a multitude of factors that does lead into why we're seeing that drop in the prices across the region. So a lot of people purchased up here during the pandemic to escape Melbourne, and they were on 0 to 1% interest rates. And then the cost of living went up as well as the interest rates. And then people came off their cliff mortgages. A lot of people are using the Airbnb and, holiday market to supplement and to pay their outgoing fees. And then with the cost of living going up, the Airbnb bookings dropped. So then we saw a lot of properties coming on the market to cover that or switching over to rental. So taxes as well in Victoria have been introduced this year, which has been very, very interesting to see and how that's been affecting the region. What I will say is that if you are looking for something to purchase, there is no better time than to grab an opportunity in a town that offers something that we believe in our heart that no other town does. If you can purchase here now, you are going to see the benefit later on. So don't be afraid of a town where the price is dropping because it will continue to go up. So if you're a purchaser, now is the best time to buy because in a few years, we will have much better pricing than we do now.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Ashley McKee and Natalie Fagan, you are in this year's block location, Daylesford. Thanks again for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast. Good luck with your coffee machine and with those sales.
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Get insider tips from industry professionals and level up your real estate game by unlocking the secrets of successful real estate transactions.
They are seeing increased demand as more city residents relocate and fewer leave regional areas. This trend has actually driven stronger price growth outside of Perth. So what are you seeing around all of that trend?
Naturally, most areas regionally in Western Australia are cheaper than Perth. So as people struggle to reach those heights in the city, they're moving to places like Bunbury, Albany, Busselton, Kalgoorlie. Obviously, they're going there because they've got work, and that's a big positive where historically a lot of these towns were a bit quieter. Most of these towns have 0, 1 or 2 builders in them. And so when you have a small increase in population growth and therefore demand for housing, the cost to construct those homes is far and above the median house price in those suburbs in the first place for the established homes.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.